The weather is good. At the same time, it's a new month. Wow. Why shouldn't you smile out there? People have been crying for sun, for sun. By the way, when I was in eastern Uganda, they're like, there is a difference between the sun in Kampala and the other sun. The other sun is Sun Pro Max. And then this one is just Mia Sun of Kampala. Anytime it's raining and then it shines a little. But of course, the other side is something different right there. So this very time, allow me bring you straight away to the show. And just like I told you, I'll be having guests who are going to be sharing a lot with us about the date we are in. Being the 1st of May, it is always regarded as International Labor Day. And this one is dedicated to the people who try to make ends meet, who leave their houses every morning, going somewhere and try to look for something that actually can push a family at the end of the day, that can construct for them shelter or build for them something, or probably take kids to school. In many ways, people do a lot of jobs, and I know actually jobs are a bit like school. There are people, okay, you can start with this job and then the other job. It is very rare, it's a rare occasion for somebody to really be in one job from the time he gets out of school until the day he will die. Just like school will be, okay, L level, maybe a different school, O level, a different school, then campus also is something different. So today we are talking about the rights and the contributions of workers in different organizations and different companies. And with me, I'm privileged to have a gentleman and a lady. For the case of the gentleman, I had him again yesterday on the same studio, and for the lady is actually new to me as well, but I am very sure at this very time we shall get to know who probably they are. For the beginners and for the person who might be seeing you for the first time, you deserve an introduction. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, my brother Rixel. Like you have said, before I say my name, I want to first appreciate all people out there who are working tirelessly every day and night to see that we grow our economy socially and politically and in all other aspects. So today we're here to celebrate them wherever you are. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter what you do, whether what and so on, whether you operate in the night economy, daytime and so on and so forth. Thank you so much. So once more, my name is Imoko Joseph. I'm an economist, as you all know, and I'm glad to be here.
Wow, actually my pleasure. And now on my immediate left, a lady. I normally break these Lombo ladies first. For me, I want gents to start always.
Oh,
okay.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm called Winnie Acen. I'm so grateful, moderator, for hosting me here. I'm an honorable.
By the way, the honorable part of it, I was just told honorable Acen, but I was like, okay. She'll explain she'll talk about the session.
I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, viewers. I'm so blissful. I'm so happy. Now, first of all, I would love to thank you, each and everyone who is really watching us today. I would love to appreciate each and every person hustling out there, working out there. Today, it's our day that we are celebrating a Labor Day in Uganda. I'm so grateful. I'm called Winnie Acen. The honorable part of it, you wanted to know?
Yeah, I need to know.
Okay.
So that I may organize my national ID.
Oh, wow. Well, I serve in some small constituency, in some district in northern Uganda, as a female youth chairperson, representing them at the sub-county level.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
That is great.
That is a honorable part of me.
Okay.
And also, I serve
I saw something like Chambogo.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm upgrading in Chambogo University.
Okay.
I aspired in the 20th Guild House as a GRC. So I'm representing School of Management in the Guild House, in the 20th Guild House.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I am here with actually, why I'm very happy is because most of the people that are watching at this very time are around our age bracket, and hearing from a fellow age mate looks a bit like the speaking sense. There is a tendency of youths, especially when a big person, an elder comes to talk to them, they'll be like, okay. But when a fellow person, like a fellow youth comes to talk to them, okay, because they believe, and yet actually elders have more experience than even us. So talking about our theme today, which is actually the day we are celebrating, being International Labor Day. When I define this, according to my understanding, it is definitely definitely a day that is dedicated to workers, just like you said, to appreciate their contributions and also maybe acknowledge their rights. But in our topic today, we are discussing about how some of these rights have been violated, have been abused in different offices, organizations, companies, by different employers out there. And maybe I would love us to start talking with our experience, unless you don't want to talk bad about your company, but probably with what you've seen, observed in society, in communities, out there in different workplaces. Yes. Let me first say, like, how does it feel like working? Because many people who are studying, their dream is after studies, I'll be working. Yeah, what is the hassle of work?
Sure.
How is that a hassle? Like you call it a hassle. The beauty of work. Let me talk about that. Let me start with the lady.
Oh, thank you so much. Work is really beautiful when when your rights are respected.
Okay.
It is really so nice.
Okay.
And you enjoy it. But when your right is disrespected, it is really not so easy.
Okay.
Actually, I want to give an experience that I personally have ever experienced.
Okay.
At the working zone out there. I've ever worked with some company that is in Forestry Mall. It's called. I don't want to talk about it.
Say its
name out. Yeah. Really, I won't mention it. Really.
Okay.
Please don't be so scared. It was really so embarrassing time of my life that I didn't like. I felt I was too much abused. Working with Indians are not easy.
Oh, by the way, I've had a lot of complaints about
Yeah, working with Indians. Actually, it was my first time in the working zone. It was really so hard for me. A situation whereby you're being shouted each and every time. You don't have a...
Somebody doesn't talk to you like a human being.
Really, someone talks to you as if you're in another country.
Like you're
moreover, even in my country. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Yeah, I was a little bit stubborn. And I was in like, boss, I don't think I can continue working with you.
So you had to throw in the towel.
Yeah. I was in like, if in my country you can mistreat me like this, you can talk to me like this, you don't respect me. The fact that I am your employee, it means that you should also respect me.
Exactly.
I should also respect you.
True.
So I ended up telling him, I think I'm resigning. I'm leaving your work.
That was your experience?
Yeah, that was my experience. It was, I don't want to talk about it, but it was a very hard one.
Okay.
I ended up even crying.
And then the client comes and sees you crying. Okay, and to the gentleman, like your experience of work, probably anywhere you've worked.
Well, I think talking about work experience, I may say I may have not yet experienced, like, maybe those adverse working conditions.
Okay.
Maybe because I've not yet worked a lot. Because, like I told you yesterday, I graduated recently. I started working briefly and so on.
You're ready for field.
Ready for field.
Okay.
But of course, it doesn't mean that I don't really know what happens out there. Because, also being, when you work fresh from university, sometimes people take advantage of you. They know, first of all, the workload is yours.
Okay.
You do the lion's share of the work, but then when it comes to the pay, it's actually someone benefiting from you. Yeah. And most people out there may not be brave enough to speak up and say, look, I think I cannot continue with this. But personally, like she said, I don't want to call it being stubborn, but I had to stand up for my rights. And I said, look, if it's not coming in, let me also pursue it.
Okay.
Yeah. So wow. Exactly.
So I'm very sure you probably, who is watching right now, you have your own experience depending on the kind of job you are actually doing right now, or that you actually play a role, that very role out there. And I'm very sure you're picturing as well, okay, the most weakest part was this. And now the most exciting part about work. Because everything has a bad side and a good side.
Yeah, the most exciting part about work, I could say, it is really nice because it has made me push my daily duties, like domestic duties at home.
Okay.
Yes. At the end of the day, I get
something
what
comes in.
Yeah, something comes in, and I put something on the table.
Okay.
With work, I'm even managing to educate myself. Wow. I'm a parent of my own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That is impressive.
That is all. It came
from work.
From work. Yeah.
Okay.
I can say that.
Wow. And on your side, an interesting part of it?
Well, I think when it comes to me, talking about the interesting side of the work, most people would argue that, the most interesting bit of it is when the paycheck is coming in.
Okay.
But then I think also if you're doing your passion, if you're doing something of your career, if you're pursuing your career, everyone will agree with me out there. When you're doing it, you feel like
you're owning it.
You're owning it, you know, you feel the love, you feel the passion. And yeah, I think that is one of the most exciting parts. Unfortunately, these days, you know the situation in the country, you study this, you end up doing the opposite.
That is.
And I'm very sure most people out there are actually working now just for the pay. And that is why most people out there end up thinking that the most exciting part of work is actually when the paycheck is coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what we are going to do actually, we are going to take a short break. But after the short break, we will actually break down. You're not going to represent any person who works, any person who is at work right now, like my producer, my person in the control room, anybody, that civil servant, and we shall talk about their rights, how their rights have been violated. Not probably like the hard way you've told me on your side, but representing now the whole country at large for now. So for now, what we're going to do is just take a very short break, and then when we come back, you see still the lunch vibe. Do not touch your remote because we're coming back with more. Today, at the end of the day, you must know your rights as a worker or as an employee in different companies that probably you're working in. Let's take a short break. We'll be back straight away. The lunch vibe right here on UCTV. In case you've just tuned in right now, actually today we are celebrating International Labor Day. For those who probably didn't know about this very date, every 1st of May is always International Labor Day. That actually I've been discussing with my guests that I have in studio today. We've been sharing about experience of work, and now we are entering into actually to know some of the rights that workers really have, regardless of any organization, company, or probably employer that you have out there. So with me still, I have Mr. Joseph Imoko and actually the lady herself, that is Acen. So actually, I'll bring you back straight away from where we actually stopped, and I want us to pick up from there. Now I want us to first share what are some of the rights that actually an employee, a worker, that laborer out there has, according to you. You're like, in your knowledge, what are some of these rights we think they have?
Well, like you've said, I'm actually glad you've brought it up, because one thing I wanted to say was that most of these workers are abused because they don't actually know their rights. So you find that someone is working but does not actually know what he or she is entitled to.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, when you look at the Employment Amendment Act of Uganda, it was actually amended in 2022. It contains a lot of provisions ranging from minimum age of work, leave, because when you talk about leave, we have vacation leave, we have paternity leave that most people do not know. Most people know only about maternity leave, but there's also paternity leave. It's actually for 4 days, according to the provision. Yes, we have maternity leave is supposed to be for 4 months, but these days you find companies, when a female gives birth,
they give you in the month of giving birth.
Exactly.
And when you just like when the child is just 1 month.
So actually they give between 1 month to 2. But when you check in the Employment Act, it actually provides for 4 months. That is what
it's supposed to be.
That is what people need to know out there. When you talk about vacation, according to that act, someone who has worked at least 16 hours in a week is entitled to 21 paid leaves in a year. Paid leaves, not just, when you go out there on leave, we are not paying for that. That is what people...
21 days.
21 paid leaves. And when you look at that, you realize that literally almost everyone in Uganda is entitled to that. Because I don't know if there is anyone who works below 16 hours in a week. Instead, people even work 16 hours in a day, which is also a violation, because according to that act, an employee is supposed to work for at least 8 hours. So if you have a workload of like 16 hours in a day, then you would rather have, let's say, 2 shifts.
Yeah, those are
yes, you can have
shifts.
someone work for the first 8 hours, another person works for the what? For the last 8 hours. And then also we have, also when we have something like, dismissal of an employee. If you, in case you do something, you don't just wake up and say,
you're fired.
You're fired.
Okay.
There's supposed to be a procedure. There's even a period you're supposed to notify me. You have to give me
stop
something.
working.
Yes,
this kind of
yes.
debt. Okay.
And in case of unfair dismissal, you're supposed to pay me.
Sure.
You're supposed to compensate.
You're supposed to compensate.
Okay.
That is what most workers do not know. So when someone comes in and says, look, I think I'm done with you, just like in a relationship, just
okay, just
get
like
out
that.
of my company.
Okay.
Someone out of inferiority does not take that time to ask for what they deserve. So you find that is where our employees actually go wrong. And I would advise all employees out there, take time, go and read about the things. You can search about.
Are you trying
them.
to insinuate them to actually sue these very guys?
No.
One way or
What
the
I am pushing for is for them to be informed
about their rights.
Yes.
Okay. Are there
Let
some
them
of the
know what
rights
they
that are
deserve.
probably
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you very much. To the employees out there, you really deserve to know your rights.
That is true.
Like, for instance, you have to know your right that you should be equally paid. Because many companies are very stubborn, by the way. Most especially, I don't trust these bosses. You'll find a boss has recruit a girlfriend in the company, has recruit someone. Actually, you find, at the end of the day, you find these people are being differently paid. But as an employee, you have a right to be equally paid, to be treated equally. You get it?
Okay.
You have that right, really. And it is not really so nice whereby you're overworked and you're underpaid. The other one is less worked and is
Overpaid. Okay.
It is not fair. So as the employee out there, you should know your rights, that you
Supposed
have
to be
to be
equally
paid
paid.
equally.
Okay.
Yeah. Not only that, a good working condition as an employer, you should know your rights, that you deserve to be working in a good working environment, a good working condition. Like, for instance, let me give an example to like, you're working in a company with machines, you deserve to be given a overall. You don't deserve to work without a overall. You
A
deserve
working
to
kit.
be, you
Helmet,
deserve to be given
gloves.
those things, helmets, to protect some other uncertainties that come,
Okay.
accidents that come. Like, for instance, when you work in a factory,
In a factory and you're just
it's
there
really you're
barehanded.
barehanded,
no
those
gumboots.
machines, no gumboots,
okay.
no helmets, anything can happen.
Is it
Of
supposed to
recent-
be, because supposed to in some companies, is it supposed to be an employee to buy those requirements for himself, or is it supposed to be the company to provide?
It is the company to provide that, but it is in the other way around. In Uganda now, the things are funny.
Okay.
Employers are too funny. They
Okay.
are really too funny. You'll find them employing you in a risky area, a risky zone. Like, for instance, you're working in a machine and you're not given a gumboot. Are you the one supposed to buy a gumboot? Will you go back with that gumboot at your home?
Okay.
Are you supposed to buy a helmet for the company? Is the helmet for what will the helmet really do at your home? So as an employee, you should know that you should have kits for your workers,
Okay.
for them to be safe, and for you to expect them tomorrow, because they're the future of your company. Without them, you're not there, and without you, they're not there.
That is true. That
Yeah.
is true. Okay. All right. Looking at still some of the rights that actually workers should have right there. When you look at now, like what you've broken down about 8 hours in a day and all this, don't you think employees also will become a little bit reluctant and use these very rights as now their right of now abusing the rights of the employers?
Well, to talk about that, that is why I actually encourage these people to go and have a look at that. Actually, I don't encourage only the employees, but also the employers, because in the Employment Act, it is all included there. All the provisions are there.
Okay.
For example, someone cannot just ask for a sick leave. You cannot just call me and say, you know what, I am sick. In the Act, it is provided for that, as an employer, you can ask for for an authentic medical report.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking about, maternity leave. If someone is pregnant, the person is pregnant. You don't need to confirm that. You don't need to confirm that. And then, so in every provision, they try to.
That means they should actually get informed.
They give both sides of the story. They give the side for the employee and the side of the employer. So it's actually quite balanced.
Are there some of the ways actually these rights have been abused today, violated?
Too much.
So much.
Too much.
I want us to just touch a bit of that before we take a break. Like how some of these rights have been violated. You talked about underpayment, and now when you look at, for example, it is your company. What do you think? Okay, let me use an example of, let me say a school, a primary school. If it is private, and you know what it is bringing, because sometimes actually employers, they come with a lot of excuses. We have to change this and that. For now, you guys will first go with this. Things will change and all that. Do you think it's not just something of a misunderstanding, or it should be like that?
Now you see, where we always go wrong is that as employees and also employers, most times when we get these jobs, we just get so excited and we don't even take time to actually sit down
to read the contract. Or
sometimes actually there is no contract. Most times actually there are no contracts. So you find that we get into these jobs, and then when things go berserk in the middle there, you actually don't have where to start from.
Sure.
And even sometimes, even if you have the contract, like I said before, our people lack information. Someone can be violated, but they don't know even where to go.
That is true.
So they don't know that when I'm violated, where can I go? So you find these days, there are a lot of violations.
Let's talk about some of them.
Underpay, sometimes completely no pay.
No pay.
And then, working overtime.
Okay.
It's also included in the act, by the way.
Yeah, overtime.
When you work overtime, you're supposed to be remunerated.
Okay.
Yes, because if I was supposed to work like maybe from...
For 8 hours?
Maybe like from 8 to 4 or 5. If I go to 7, you're supposed to pay me for the overtime.
Okay.
Yes, but these days, no one, people don't look at those things. And at the end of the day, the employee also doesn't complain, maybe doesn't know where to go.
Because you're desperate for the job.
And sometimes it's because of lack of information.
Okay.
Yes. And also desperation is definitely there. When I leave this job, we have a very high rate of unemployment today.
That is true.
When I'm dismissed from here, it might take me quite a very good time to actually get another job.
How about something like overload of work?
Overload work, it is actually too much affecting out there in the working zone. Someone is being overworked. Someone does what 3 people are supposed to do. You get it? And at the end of the day, you find this person is being paid 10,000. Like for instance, I would love to give in a restaurant. Someone has been working from 8 to maybe 10 in the night. At the end of the day, this person will walk out with 2,000 shillings. Is that really fair?
Wow, that is unfair. Yeah, that is true.
And it is happening in Uganda.
Because if I may just, now like when you use that example, you have fed over 50 people that have come that day.
Sure.
But what you're taking home cannot even feed the 3 of you at home.
It cannot even cater for your transport back home.
Okay, that is how when it comes to overload of work. Okay,
sure.
So is there any way you think the government should actually intervene to make sure they probably confront or play their role as the government to make sure these other employers and employees are actually at sync when it comes to work payment and also the way the workers are treated probably in different organizations?
Well,
what do you suggest for the government?
First of all, as government, one thing I would recommend the government of Uganda to do would be to revise the minimum wage. Because you will agree with me, I think the minimum wage that we're using it dates back to something like 1984. It is quite unfortunate, but it is true.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate. And then also, when you look at in Kenya, we have something that they call Salaries and Wages Board. With the Salaries and Wages Board, it makes sure that all salaries are standardized. You will not find a situation whereby someone who is working here doing a certain amount of work is paid maybe let's say 5 million, and there is another person in a different company doing exactly the same with the same qualification earning 500,000. You know, sometimes you find like maybe in these government agencies and so on, you know, you find that the supervisor is earning maybe like, let's say 10 million.
Then a person again who is doing
And the
too much
person
work.
he is supervising is earning 40 million. You understand? So sometimes, you know, so when we have the salaries and wages board, you know, they come and look into some of the things, you know, because you cannot say, like, let's say, if we have a journalist or a TV personality working maybe, let's say, in News TV, in NBS, what and so on, if you're doing the same thing, then you're earning the same.
No matter where you're doing from.
Yes, as long as it's the same qualification, the same amount, you know, actually the same job.
Okay.
Yes,
and on
so
your side, what do you think should employers really do to make sure at the end of the day these employees smile? They go back home and they are being welcomed with both arms, like, okay, daddy's back.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, moderator. Employees should learn to motivate their workers.
Okay.
They should learn to publish out the best worker of the year. It motivates someone.
And it puts competition among workers.
It makes competition among them, because really, I wouldn't really want to see my friend walking out with a car just because he has
Employee of the month.
He has, you know, he has blow off the year, maybe you get it, and walking out with a car. What do you expect next year? I'll come back and work hard and walk out with also that car.
Okay,
you get
okay.
It?
Wow.
Also, I would also request the employers out there who are listening to me, at least they should put a fair environment for their workers. They should be nice to their workers.
Okay.
You get it? They should have nice hospitalities on their workers. And a word of thank you. It is something really so nice, but that is what
If
people...
you've done something good,
if
thank
I've
you.
done
That was
something
great
nice,
today.
tell me thank you. It is really nice today. Oh, well done.
In most
really,
cases,
you're
by
right.
the way,
Yeah.
employers only wait for that mistake you're going to do. You see, but appreciating today was mass. We had good sales. Okay.
They don't really do that. If they can do that to their workers, that is really so nice. At least if they could also motivate their workers by giving them insurance cards. Let also their family benefits. At least in a family, you can say, let me give 2, 3, 4 medical
health
insurance.
okay?
Yeah, and you get it. It motivates workers.
Actually, employees are entitled to what?
To medical insurance.
Yes.
But these are things that now
And now
employers
you're operating my mobile money. Yeah? And let me first take it down there. You're operating my mobile money, like, seriously. If I'm to put in a medical insurance, a transport allowance, and then lunch and all, because that is what you're supposed to get. Like, see, what do I get at the end of the day?
What you do, when when you take it down there, like you've said, it's like when you have your maid at home.
Okay.
Usually, there are no contracts, there is no,
It's
all
just
those other
like,
provisions, and so on. But if she falls sick, at least you can take her to the hospital.
That one is a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yes, take her to the hospital. She's in your house, she's working for you, she's helping you, So take her to the hospital. Most people are so harsh out there to the extent that, when you fall sick, you're on your own.
Yeah. After all, you're working.
Yes.
Okay, I want us to
And
give...
you're handing a peanut. After all, you're working. You're handing a peanut. When you fall sick, you have to cut. Let me say, for instance, a maid is handing 50,000, and imagine this maid falls sick.
That is not even a
And
hospital bill.
And you expect this maid to go.
Now, I want us, as we're winding up, I want us to give a wake-up call to that person who hustles every day, who goes, of course, to different offices, different organizations, different fields in the name of work. What would you give them that can wake them up and realize they really have to stand for their rights?
Well, what I would love to tell that person out there, they should know their rights. They should know their rights. They should know that I'm supposed to do A, B, C, D, and stop to Z.
Okay.
Without that, you will still end up being mistreated and misguided, and at the end of the day, become a failure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on your side?
Yes, well, one of them is that actually we have the industrial court that is, in charge of this, some of these violations. When you have an issue at work, maybe you've been fairly dismissed, maybe when you've not been paid, when something happens, we have an industrial court that is actually supposed to handle these cases. Unfortunately, you find that, you know, today I was listening to one of the ministers saying that we have only 2 judges. And yet in the industrial court, we actually meant to have 5 judges. So that is, you know, on the government side, you know, it's a weakness on the government side. And then also, you know, I would encourage people, we have the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. You know, you can go there. We have actually, that ministry is headed by, politically it's headed by Honorable Betty Amongi.
Okay.
And then we also have Honorable, the State Minister for Labor, Esther Anyakun. We also have Honorable Peace Mutuzo. These are some of the people we can actually run to and say, look, because after all, 2026 is knocking, they will come.
Okay, when you really look at this kind of topic, it's something very, very wide that needs a bigger time to discuss. But just for the name and for the course of time, I would love us to pause it here. But also I want to appreciate really your contributions. I'm very sure today somebody even didn't know they're supposed to be insured. They didn't even know the standard working hours they were supposed to be working for. And probably from me, definitely, I would say, in case you are my boss, in case you are the employer, in case you are that person who gave me that contract, I just like I heard from my guests today, do not underpay me. This one I'm talking in the name of everyone. And then 2, delayed salaries, because at the end of the day, when salary comes, I have spent, actually when it comes, it will get when I have a lot of debts and it goes in all of it. And at the end of the day, when I have a problem at home, then I'm like, I'm taking my workmates home. I don't even have a house, but just because I was left with nothing to raise this house. And then 2, there are people that really make it or find it hard when it comes to transportations, when it comes to health. And also there are people who are going through health conditions. I really assume you as a boss, you are actually friendly to any condition of your worker to avoid also discriminating them. Okay, I don't want disabled people. I don't want what. No, you can have all of them, but what is that person supposed to do? Then also for the workers, I would also call upon you guys probably. Let's respect our bosses. Just like you want them to respect you, let's respect these very people. Because without this person, you will not actually have that opportunity. And also without your efforts, their companies will not actually go far as they are right now. So it's a very large one, but I'm very sure I'm going to be having it since it is actually Labor Day, and let me call this a Labor Month for anybody out there. And in case you're celebrating together with us, I want to say Happy International Labor Day. I've been Rixel. I had actually, that is Miss Acen and also Mr. Imoko right there who joined me today. But I'm very sure with time or after some days, we shall be coming and probably well exhaust on this very topic of discussion. I've been working with a big team behind the camera. I got Kato, and in the control room, I got Chris and my producer, Billy, right there. I don't want to forget to appreciate Akrut Sharon. Thank you so much for tuning out there. Babu, big upon yourself. Trish, shout outs to you right there. Also catching the show live. So for now, allow me to say let's go celebrate our Labor Day together. And for those who are going with me to Nambole, let's go and catch Uganda Premier League. I know many updates will come with same games on the sports leg. For now, allow me to sign out. May God bless you. Happy New Year.